pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so for the roll call, Maria is not here tonight. She is ill. And the board chair comments, I just have one. So looking at the donations again tonight, between a whole bunch of them, there's just under $30,000 worth of donations. So that is awesome. So just a big thank you, since we have to read it off as a resolution and kind of formal. A big thank you to all those individuals and the organizations that are donating to help our students. So with that, I will take an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second it.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Appreciation, recognition, and presentations. We have a bunch of them here.
Chair Hofstadter, member of the board, Superintendent Dr. Werkamp Herman, Caitlin Arnzen, Activities Director. We have a couple of recognizations for our winter seasons. First up, I want to recognize our wrestlers that qualified and competed at the state meet. We had Brady Orzek, Jake Lenners, and Brandon Mugg. I was like, I know I saw him. The other two were not able to make it, but Brandon was able to end up placing fifth at the state meet, which is a good feat. So Brady, I'm not gonna get you. Do you just want to do pictures at the end?
Yeah, we'll do
Okay.
that.
The other group that I want to recognize is our 2024 and through 2025 girls basketball team. They had a record-setting season. They went 14-0 in our conference, and then they were 26-0 in regular season, and they finished it as a 28-1 season, which is a record season. Plus, they set many individual stat records as well. And then as far as the coaching staff, our assistant Bill Bauman was assistant section coach of the year, and Brad Bauman was the CMC girls basketball coach of the year. So a lot of recognition for their hard work and successful season. There you go. So we have Madison Albright, Haley Wolbeck, Dakari Radowski, Emily Block, Elise Shanerock, Addison Shanerock, and Chloe Reed, who are the ones that are here. So congratulations. I know there's others that were on the team, so. All right.
Congratulations.
Take your time. Right, or is there more recognition?
Well, we have more, but
Oh, sorry.
let's do the students of the
Yeah.
month first.
Sure.
Sorry.
Not again.
Chair Ofsted, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Werkamp, Herman, Joel Swenson, high school principal. I am recognizing the students of the month. These students are nominated and voted upon by staff for positive contributions to our school that could be academic, extracurricular, volunteer, character, all of those characteristics are put into play with the students of the month. And so we will be recognizing our winter students of the month. And that is Abby Collis, December student of the month, Wyatt Garretts, the January student of the month, and Caden Van Erden, who was the February student of the month. Congratulations. Correct. Every week I go through them. All right. And Caden could not be here this evening. The other award, and I can give it to Jeffrey Shanerock. Award this to Jeffrey Shanerock, is the Royalton Lions Club sponsored our 5th and 6th grade fishing trip here this winter. The first day we were planning it, it was mid-February. And the first day we planned it, it looked like it was gonna be about 18 degrees with about a 20-mile-an-hour wind. And we decided to cancel, which was a wonderful move because it ended up being like 9 degrees with a 20-mile-an-hour wind. And it was just not, it just imagine 120 fifth and sixth graders on the ice with a 10 below wind chill. The next week when we scheduled it, we ended up with like 35, 40 degrees on the lake where they were up on Fish Trap Lake, and we had a record. I think the sixth graders, I think they caught 67 fish that day. We've had years where we went out and caught one fish for 60 some people. So they got a chance to fish. We had some students go out and help. The Lions Club, the Rice Sportsman's Club was also a big help to the fishing trip. And so on behalf of the school, I'd like to present Jeff Shainrock as a member of the Lions, a thank you from the school for their leadership in putting this event on. And Jeff was out there. Jeff was the faculty rep for the day with the sixth graders, so he got to see it in action. So now we can do pictures.
Visual pictures. That's I do that picture on.
More remote.
I do that picture on.
Maybe some of the.
Oh, that's the best though.
Everybody is.
Yeah, when we do all of them, or do you want to be separate?
You can pull it.
We just do them all together, can't
We
we?
need board members. So
Yeah, we're coming.
Separate, we'll do this.
Just push them over.
Oh, nice.
I know, I feel so too.
I was smiling.
We're just gonna move to the front, right?
Yeah, all the tall girls right here.
Maybe not.
All the bunch here, sorry, you can stand in front, I think. A little bit. There we go, we got everybody on? Oh, the
We could open a major restaurant.
Okay, students of the month.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. See you tomorrow, Mr. Shainrock, you want to order our line?
Okay, wow.
Now you're really.
I know.
That was bad before.
You think you did? I don't know.
I also know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Lots of great recognition. That's awesome. Recognition of citizens for input purposes. All right, we'll go to the board committee report. Does anybody want to talk about the finance committee?
I can, I guess we didn't have a ton on the finance committee, just went over budget and then. We were up some students, let me see where my, 927 for March. And I believe Heidi said that was 7 through 12 where we had the biggest increase. Yeah, in students.
That's a good number to go up.
Yeah.
So for policy, there's really nothing significant there. We looked at a few of them, and everything that's changing that we're approving tonight is statutes and references. So no change to actual policy. And then Midstate, we're doing a lot of work at Midstate. We're almost finished with the director eval. We've had some big changes to how we are billed and working that out. The superintendents have done a really good job putting that together and working that out. And then our next meeting is going to be setting goals for next year. We really haven't done that in about 3 years, so pretty excited to get that going. So that's really it, for committee. Is there any other committee reports? All right, superintendent report.
So I don't have a lot, just, it was school social worker week this past month, during the month, as well as school transportation. So we appreciate all of our staff that do the hard work of supporting students as well as transporting our kids. Our drivers are really top notch, as well as our social workers. We did have our strategic planning committee meeting, and I was really excited because we had new new community members come and be a part of that meeting. We actually had 9 people there that would not be considered just there because of staff. They might be staff, but they were there representing more of a community lens potentially. So that was exciting. We have sent the survey, as you all have received, regarding what our current priorities are, as well as action steps and what potential edits might be possible. So that closes on Monday. So if you know people that haven't taken it, please tell them to do so. I think so far we've had about 53 responses, so it'd be nice to bump that up a little bit. But that closes on Monday. And then Mr. Shainra out there will help make sure we crunch our numbers correctly statistically, so because they're weighted, so I'm gonna make sure we do the math right. And then that'll come back to the committee meeting at the end of April and look through these ideas, and we'll actually get some things on paper. Hopefully we'll get that get that finished up in April to bring back to the board. If not, we may have to schedule one more strategic planning committee meeting before we can bring an edited version of the strategic plan to the school board. So that's exciting work. And just another quick update, the legislative session is going on its way. We are really hoping that, we do know that we'll get a 2.74% increase on the formula. That's set. NBA came out with that. This is different this biennium because in the past they would set it for 2 years. You know what you were getting year 1 and year 2 based on session. They won't do that this year because as of the last session, the funding formula is actually tied to inflation. So there's a floor of 2%. So your minimum you'd ever get is 2%, and there's a maximum of 3%. So they will not tell you what that number is going to be until that next year. So the only year we know is FY26 or this next year, fiscal year, 2.74%. And we are still working at hoping that they will hold the compensatory funding, have a hold harmless on that, because if that changes, we are likely to lose revenue if they were to just use the direct certs in order to guide your compensatory revenue funding stream. So we're working on that. We have a pretty good hope. We're pretty hopeful they'll do that hold harmless until they can figure out another method to calculate it. And then also hoping that they continue funding the summer term unemployment insurance costs. Feeling pretty good. Governor has it in his budget, hoping that stays. If it does, it's likely only going to be for a year or 2, and they'll still have to keep these conversations going. So other than that, there's likely no other new monies likely based on what we're facing, because we're looking at a deficit in the out biennium. So I'm sure you've all read in the news. So I can take any questions if you have any, but that's what I have.
I have a couple. Is there gonna be another reminder for people on that survey?
Yeah, we sent them out in the newsletters of principals, and
I know,
so
but
they'll do it
just,
again Friday. I can do it.
you know,
Yeah,
when we get that the first time, everybody's like, well, that's like a week and a half, you
Yeah.
know, so I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it yet, you know?
yeah,
Could you do just a school reach call?
yep, I certainly can. Great idea.
That's all I got.
Anybody else? All right, business manager.
Good evening, Chair Hofstad, members of the board, Dr. Christine Warkamp Herman. I'm Heidi Hagan, the business manager. And just to preface my update tonight, we have since had 2 finance committee meetings because we had adjusted this board meeting out to this date. And so tonight's presentation, I'm updating on the month end of January 2025. It's a 2-month look back for each of these monthly updates. And so Enrollment in February was 924. As you heard, board member Holm mention that now March is 927, so we're slowly seeing small increases month over month since the month of December. We budgeted in the revision that was approved 918 ADMs, and so when MDE finalizes this year's enrollment, which will be sometime in October, our ADM should finalize at higher than that 918, considering we've had some increases. We continue to track it monthly. Historical enrollment is just you can go next to the next one. A look at the last 10 years and enrollment kindergarten through 12th grade. We do have early childhood there on the far left. It's not included in the totals in that far right column. General fund revenues, again, month end January 2025, on track overall as the budget shows as a percentage 48.1%. And comparable to both the previous fiscal years. Expenditures, month in January, again, are showing on track as this is the revised budget at 49.9%. And then the next page goes into the different categories. So salaries and wages for month end January were on track with the budget, as were benefits. Purchase services too on track as a percentage of the overall budget. Property insurance, LTFM repairs, mid-state special education services, and PSEO are large budgeted expenses in that category. Supplies on track, capital again on track as we made and finalized purchases that were approved in the budget, and the other categories on track with the budget. It shows skewed in that this category includes a reclassification of chargebacks at year end when we're working through our audit. So that category looks a little different when you're looking at it in comparison to other years. Any questions?
And Heidi, I did say that 2.74, right? For the-
Yes.
I want to make sure I said the right number.
That's about the only thing we know.
Yeah,
at
that's
this time with legislation.
Which actually is kind of nice. We generally don't know.
Questions?
All right, thanks, Heidi. Principal report.
Here, Hofstad, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Wehrkamp. I just have one item to report on tonight. We've been working with our crisis management plan. We used to use an app called Crisis Go, and it had the crisis management things uploaded into the app. Very difficult for if you have subs in the building who don't have access to it. If you don't have your phone, you don't have it. If you were out of the room and you didn't have grab your phone and something happened, you don't have access to it. So we decided to move on from Crisis Go and decided that we were going to do an emergency backpack project. The emergency backpacks would contain a couple times a year, the teachers and staff would update class list, emergency procedures. They would have first aid kit. We're working on getting a vest that would identify you as staff or emergency responders who could be on site at any given time. And we were looking to do 125 backpacks across the district in all the classrooms, offices, lunchroom, and we had put together a costing of that project to be around $2,000. The fire department and the Royalton American Legion graciously donated $3,500 to us for this project, which leaves us some room for, we had not included the vests in the project. When I presented to the firemen last week, it was actually their idea about the emergency vest. I thought, oh, that's really actually a really good idea. And so I just wanted to report on that and thank the Legion, the Legion and the fire department on their contribution to this project that we will be able to this spring order and outfit the packs. The plan would be for our student council and Minnesota Honor Society to help us put them together and deliver them out to all the places that we plan to have them. So it is in a little orange backpack. It is. They all look exactly the same. I'm hoping it's not an item that anyone's gonna really be excited about taking for their own personal use. It's just big enough to have the stuff that we want in it, and they will all look the same. In the winter months, you might throw a sweatshirt in the backpack if you know you're gonna be outside and you have, that kind of deal is what we're looking for. Hung in a spot in the classroom where you grab it and go and it's got your stuff in it. And so we will be working on that project this spring, but I wanted to update the board on that. Any questions?
How often is the class list gonna get updated?
Every semester.
Okay. We have put that in the handbook then?
We'll put it in the crisis management plan for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so that it doesn't get lost from
Mhm.
idea to
Yeah.
implementation.
It's the one updated portion of it that they
Yeah.
will have to take care of. Yeah. And there'll be a waterproof binder in there that they put their class list into.
Yep.
All right. Next is consent agenda approval. So, on the consent agenda, anybody can pull anything off of this. If they would like to. What we're looking at tonight is approval of the regular board meeting minutes, the claims, accounts and financials, approval of the new hires and approval of the resignations and terminations. Is there anything anybody would like to pull? All right, I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move the consent agenda.
All right, thank you, Director Hackett.
I'll second it.
Second, Director Boyd. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, discussion, information and action items. Do we still want to look at 10A with Maria being gone? Or do we want to wait the 2 weeks until the next one?
I motion table it till the whole board is here, unless you want to talk about it.
What do we know about the co-chair? And do we want to do, yeah, I guess it. I'm fine, it's only 2 weeks away, but. Maybe we should just table it, I don't know. What do you think? I don't.
It's just discussion.
Yeah,
on
it's
it
just
or whatever.
discussion, right?
Did you talk to the attorney?
Yeah, so that it's like an hour, a couple hours worth of time to put it together.
Yeah, that's it was like $300 to $400 probably,
Yeah, right.
something like that. Okay. So we're good with that, tabling it, and we'll take it on in April.
Sure.
I'd rather have everybody here.
Yeah, I
Fund
agree.
off that opportunity.
I agree. Yeah.
We pushed it along this far, already.
Right.
That's true.
You
Um,
know, vote on that?
No,
Probably table it.
So 10B is senior photo portfolio presentation.
Chairman Husted, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Weerkamp. Back up here again, you're here a lot for me tonight, I guess. Wanted to do a quick presentation of the senior portfolio things that we are doing here at RHS. We have developed the idea of putting together a senior portfolio. That portfolio would include items that are used in schoolings, which I'll be demonstrating for you here in a few minutes. But it is a chance to show what are our graduates going out with? What are the things that they've been exposed to? What are their future plans? What are they planning to, what is the career outlooks for them? And so School Links is a program that has a lot of this stuff in it, which we are required to do. Career exploration and career outlook across the country, across our state. You can go into the School Links program and it allows you to look all of that stuff up. FAFSA and college information on any school in the country. It helps develop a resume based on if you put in experiences, jobs, industry certifications. The program will actually help you build a resume that you can, and it actually is a really, you're thinking it's like just prints out a list of things that they do. No, it actually formats the resume pretty well for students, where it would be a useful tool for them as they go on. In our Royal Hours, we have been encouraging our kids to update their experience trackers with any volunteerism, jobs, things that they've been involved in. With the senior portfolio, then we schedule a time in May with admin, superintendent, principals, counselors, and we break them up into groups, and we each take about a third of the kids and we meet with them for it's about a 10-minute deal. And it really is not meant to be like, we're going to grill you before you graduate one last time. It is really more of a chance for us to find out what your future plans are, find out what are some things that you did in high school that you thought were valuable. What are some ways that we as a school can improve to meet the needs of future learners in our district? A major one for us is we really want to find out what their plan is for after high school. And to celebrate with them a little bit, but it's a chance for us to, just have that kind of a personal chance to celebrate their journey as they finish up high school. So we will do those in May, and excited about that. The requirement for the senior portfolio, the goal for this in the future is that this is a naturally occurring item. Throughout high school, they will have these different experiences that they contribute into School Links, and that portfolio is basically built from their experiences that are happening throughout the course of their high school career. They do a resume and cover letter in their English class. We have college application week in October and November where students are applying. If students have applied for school, they include a college application into it. Our core values, they pick a core value and write a short paragraph about how they exhibited that core value in high school and how they plan to exhibit that core value as they move forward into their adult life. College post-secondary plan, whether that be workforce, military, apprenticeship, you name it, whatever you are planning to do after high school, we want you to include that in it. Career cluster inventory is something that is completed in School Links. And then through that, the presentation of the senior activities is just showcasing the activities that you did in School Links. Show us how you navigated in the program. And so if you want, for a few seconds here, I'll show you I will show you School Links and what it looks like. For 2026 and beyond, the portfolio will be required for all seniors. We're looking at requiring 40 hours of volunteer time throughout high school, 10 hours per year. We had students that have hundreds of hours based on church affiliation, school events. It does not have to be exclusive to this. So if you might get to count a volunteer thing for 3 different activities as you go throughout high school. It might count for NHS, or it might count for confirmation from church, whatever. You can double up on those things. The portfolio, like I said, meant to be a naturally occurring accumulation of experience and artifacts. So excited about it. We do not have our seniors attend student-led conferences. For the most part, they are in the middle of making and carrying out those decisions in the spring of their senior year. And so the portfolio presentations that they work on are the replacement basically for that time and effort. And so, really excited about it. There's schools that are around our area that are looking at that. When I talked about the senior portfolio, I had other schools that were interested in what we were doing with it. And so I'm pretty excited that we have right now this year, we have 51 of the 66 seniors are doing the senior portfolio presentations in May. And so, questions before I go to School Links?
I have a question.
Yeah,
What are we doing for access to this after graduation?
the students have access to, they will have access to their School Links materials
They
after
will.
graduation. Yeah,
Cause otherwise they should like.
run it off and print it, out. Yeah,
Put it on a drive or something.
yes,
you know,
they will
just-
have access.
Because when they're going through the process, you know, this spring. You know, some of them are like, well, you know, I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, by
Hey,
a
where's that
year from
resume
now, they're
again?
gonna be like, gee, if I had a resume, I could just print off, it'd be really nice, you know?
Yes. Yes, they will have access.
Okay.
I had one question, as you were talking about student-led conferences, I was just thinking, would it be possible or even feasible for the 9th through 11th graders to talk about what they updated as part of this
Sure,
portfolio,
yes.
as part of their student-led
The
conference?
student-led conference and the student-led conference in the future should be making use of School Links.
Okay.
Like that is the conversation piece.
Yep.
This is where I want the center of our career exploration, college exploration, career, anything, workforce, military, anything is centered in here. I have been looking for, we had Naviance. We did Ramp Up. We have done MCIS. I was looking for one that had the features that School Links has for years. And I am really excited about this, especially with the ability to upload your own documents to the system. That is a great feature of it. So if you take a look at the screen, this is just an example of the School Links program. This is a demo. I'm Wanda Carver. I'm an 11th grade high school student. And it showed, this is just in the career areas for Minnesota. It shows job openings. Every time you do something, there are career cluster quizzes. You're gonna have lots of kids when you ask them, what do you want to do after high school? They're like, I don't know. And they say it exactly like that. I don't know. And we try to get them is that you don't have to have the answer right now, but we want you to start narrowing it down. You might know that I have 10 things that I might want to do after high school. And I'm hoping as you go throughout your high school career or throughout your senior year that you're able to narrow, if you narrow that to 5 things, that's success. That's a successful move for you. You're getting closer to making that decision. And so this tool is meant to help students make that decision. It takes that. So like for our data, I can't show it to you because there's names, student names in it, but when our students take the career cluster quiz, it shows us where our students are picking and where their career interests are. So that most job openings in Minnesota, there's a thing on our dashboard when I open it says you had 252 students take the career cluster inventory. 175 of them are interested in construction fields. 60 of them are interested in healthcare. And that anytime that they do that, and they can take that multiple times a year, multiple times throughout high school, and we will have that updated data as to where our students are interested in with career fields. So it gives us the opportunity then to if we maybe bring in speakers or bring in career opportunities or look for job fairs that have those types of careers in mind, then we can arrange those types of experiences for our kids. Do you want to go to?
We'll go to college.
Yeah, go to the colleges on the left side. And just look for like a school search or first list, one of them. So it's very interactive. Here's all, the Minnesota colleges. You can go on there and it will show you where it is, how much it costs to go there, what is the majors and the programs that they have. Like I said, in Minnesota, it's listed as 76 schools. It is not Minnesota specific. For the purposes of this demo, they filtered in Minnesota only, but if you want to look at Harvard, I mean, you can do that. All of those opportunities are there. So it's a quick spot where if you're looking for something, contact numbers, how application procedures, all of those things are available through this. Through some of your career interests, it will show you the colleges that have the programs that you're looking for. And so if you're trying to narrow down where you're going to go to school for a major, if you're going to be a nursing major, it will narrow down the college list to the schools that have nursing programs. And so it's a really nice feature of the program. Up on the top, right, see where Wanda Carver is? Up on top on the orange on the right, then one next to it, there's a what does that say?
Credential.
Yeah, view the credential folder. So this is the area where they can put in credentials. I had students who have credentials in there. They have their through our life skills lab, they have received their, I say it wrong every time.
It's ServSafe.
ServSafe. I always say Safe Serve, it's ServSafe. Their ServSafe credential, so they actually take a picture of that credential and it uploads it into the place for them. So if they did go work at a restaurant or do something down the road, they could go back in here and they'd have that credential that they could present to an employer. First aid, CPR, any of those types of credentials that you might need for a career or position that you're pursuing. If you go to the one next to it, that one right there, that is Wanda Carver has some truancy issues, it looks like. But that isn't uploaded. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I did not upload that. I do have a document called truancy included, but that is the spot where you can upload your resume, your cover letter, and it will just list the documents right there. So if you log into the system, you can go right to the document, you can update it, you can resave it, re-upload it.
She's honest.
She's very honest. I would not put that in the credential file. That I'd recommend against that. So that I am not an expert in this. We are learning it as we go. We're building the plane as we're flying it. So every time that we have a meeting with the people from Schoollinks in Sourcewell, who are the career pathway consultants that we're working with, they are helping us through this. Now, every month, and our students have a task every month that shows up. So they have a task assigned for March. They have a task assigned for April. It might be complete this career cluster unit, take this personality profile, and it builds that and saves it for them. But each month when they log in, then it shows their to-do list, basically. And here's the things that they've completed. Here's the things that they haven't. The average, and our parents also have access to this. They can go in with a parent portal. I'm happy to report that in Region 5, the average school where getting parents signed up for Schoollinks was 10 to 12%. We're at 25 or 26% here with our parents sign up. And we've been trying to push that pretty hard to get our parents signed up so they can go into Schoollinks and see the progress and things that their students are doing. Maybe it facilitates a conversation. They can, hey, what did you learn about FAFSA, or what did you learn about this school that you were looking at? They can go in and they have a resource that they can facilitate a conversation with mom and dad. Any questions about the portfolio or Schoollinks? This was a strategic priority. In the strategic plan was to have a senior exit portfolio and a capstone project for seniors. And this is
They're gonna have access to the whole Schoollinks or just the information post-graduation?
They should have access to their account and materials in
For a
Schoollinks.
person that goes on to more schooling, they could continue to build on it.
My understanding is that we will have access to that as they have 2 years out. If you want to use it as a resource, that it would still be there for you.
Yeah, like to update resume information.
Yeah, you know,
Whatever.
Okay.
well, one of the questions and they come back from the summer should be, you know, did anybody get any certifications over the summer? Because, you know, some kids gonna think like, well, I got my forklift certification, it's nothing, right? But that'd be a
Right.
good thing.
And we have encouraged that, and we actually go in and approve them. So we go in and approve their certifications and their volunteerism, which has been really fun.
Cause you found out they're doing more than what you knew.
Well, 3 things. You can't get paid. You can't get a grade for it. And, like, my kids have never volunteered to rake leaves for me. That's a chore that you're doing for me. Now, if you go to Heidi's house and rake leaves, you can use that as volunteerism, but not for me, you can't. And so we've had I have 600 hours of volunteering in my mom's daycare. No, that's not, but when we do that, we let them know like, okay, you gotta give me, or it's real vague. And so we give them some more information, you know, like, hey, can you tell me more about this volunteer thing that you did? And we're not like trying, like, this is gonna, you like a concrete box of volunteer. We're pretty open with it, but we just don't want to get paid. We don't want to get a grade and we don't want it to be, chores. So, we go through probably once every couple weeks. And we are going through and approving those. And so that it banks their minutes. They don't have to do that. When you submit it, you put the number of hours that you did it. I worked at the fish fry for 4 hours doing meat raffle or whatever. When you do that and it gets approved, it automatically banks it for you. So I can go in and get a report of where student volunteer hours are. Which is nice because if we have students that are short as they're approaching graduation, we can try to find some volunteer opportunities for them. You know, help out at a basketball game. That's easy enough to do, you know, help out, come to a wrestling match and be the chauffeur for the officials or, you know, that kind of deal, or run clock, that kind of stuff. So any other questions? Excited about it. I think it's a great thing for our kids. And it's finally a tool that I'm excited about the fact of, it's gonna answer a lot of the questions that we had.
I think we're good. Thanks, Phil. PSEO.
Okay. I haven't talked this much for, I don't know, since July. PSEO. This is a topic of concern. There's some really good things about PSEO. It gives opportunities for students to gain college where they might not otherwise have an opportunity to get a head start. Right now, the best way I can describe it is we are in the wild west of the PSEO development in the state of Minnesota. And it is all in favor of unrestricted, uncontrolled access to PSEO. There's very little we can do to control it. In the old days, you used to have entrance and things, and you might have 2 or 3 kids that go to PSEO at St. Cloud State and they went on campus, and you had 10, 12 kids that maybe took a PSEO class in school online. After COVID, I believe the colleges saw a way that they could supplement their shrinking on-campus enrollments and arranged and took some of those requirements off of PSEO. So we are trying to do a few things to control our own responses and protocols with PSEO. In the past, students who registered for 9 college credits could get an open period. We are eliminating the open period. We restricted the open period this past year to, they had to take their open period during Royal Hour. Next year, we are just eliminating that. They would still have Royal Hour and have that opportunity. This,
I don't know what open period means.
that they would be not our students, so they can have, they'll have an open period during the day. So if they have first period, they don't have to come until till second period.
Alright,
Students who have, though really the only difference is if you take 12 PSEO credits, you're considered full-time. And if you have your grad requirements covered, you don't have to take classes with us. You're a full-time college student. You could take, if you wanted to, you can supplement your schedule. Yeah, I really wanted to take small engine. I'm a full-time PSEO student, but I wanted to take that small engines course, or I wanted to take band, or I wanted to take a Phi-Ed class, weightlifting class. They can do that. They can always access our courses, but at 12 courses, they're considered full-time, and they would have, if they had their grad requirements covered through their PSEO courses, do not have to take a course with us. And so they say, oh, well, I have opens. They don't have opens. What they have is online college courses. So the no open periods really is only basically taking one more class. In taking one more PSEO class, you are in command of building your schedule the way that you want it to. Withdrawals, we had students who were taking a class like fitness walking. And they would take the class with the intention of using it to get an open period. I'm gonna make sure that I have X amount of credits, so I get an open period throughout the day, so I don't have to come to school till 10 o'clock. They take fitness walking with no intention of ever participating in the class. Get to a certain point in the semester, withdraw from the class. We pay for the class. There was zero consequence in the system for them. We are looking at, for a student who withdraws from a course after the allowed drop date from the college, will receive a failing high school grade on their high school transcript. This will make sure that students are, when you're taking college classes and registering for college classes, that you're doing so with the right intention in mind. You are doing it because you are using that class for something beyond high school and not a chance to get an open period.
can we do that?
We can do that.
We
And
can,
other schools are doing this.
okay,
Because of some of that zero consequence. You don't, if you go to college and you're paying for it
right,
and you withdraw from the course, you've paid for the course. And the idea that the W is not a good thing on a college transcript. It's not. And I don't want them to have that lesson that if you just don't like it, you just bail and take a W. There is some consequence for that. And so we are looking at,
Just to reiterate, that's only after the 15 days.
Yes.
They still have the right to withdraw from a class that first 15 days with no consequence.
and then monetarily, we're not
Right,
liable
make it
for that.
correct.
right, this would be 2 months down the road, you decide that I'm just not gonna do that. I took the class to get the open period and I really didn't have any intention of doing it. Now you're gonna have to really make a decision about what you're registering for. The future, we're working with other schools in Region 5, especially some of the schools to the north of us, Pine River, Pillager, Pequot Lakes.
Piers is getting involved.
Piers is getting involved with it. Working in schools with Region 5 regarding working our PSEO contracts, our CIS contracts with other options around the state of Minnesota. There are some other types of programs that have different rules in place for it. We can't really force that, but we can, hopefully, my goal would be to have enough pressure where they make some positive changes that are more friendly to high schools with regards to PSEO. Like I said, it's not a bad thing, but right now it needs some boundaries on it. These advocacy groups are testifying in front of the legislature, and have in the last few months. Principals have been testifying to the legislature about the current state of PSEO. We are currently reworking contracts with some of the colleges we work with CIS and PSEO offerings. stating our concerns, like, here's what it's doing to us. Here's what it's doing to the school budgets. Where we used to have entrance exams, you had to have a certain score on the AccuPlacer test to take a CIS course is no longer there. And so some of those guardrails of protecting students who might not be ready to take PSEO courses have been totally removed in the past few years. So we would love to see some of those things come back. And so that's the changes that we're looking at making for PSEO in 25-26. Questions?
So on the, Joel, on the, where you said that they'll receive a failing grade, like just a failing, I mean, do you have to have that in a category or just a failing grade in what class per se?
Yes,
You know
it
what I'm
would be
saying?
listed it would be listed as the course that they withdrew.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be, we wouldn't just throw one in.
Right.
Yeah,
Throw the English department to the wolves. English.
yeah. And that would not be on their college transcript. That would just be on their high school transcript, just for us. Their college transcript, they're gonna take the W or take
Yeah.
whatever they're gonna
No
get.
matter what.
We can't affect that.
Yeah. So it'd just be on their high school transcript.
Okay, I have another question.
Yeah.
They're slowly coming. So like the full-time PSEO, they don't have to be in school at all. Right? If they're taking a full PSEO load.
As long as their PSEO courses are meeting their grad requirements for us, so.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
So the 9 college credits. Cause I don't understand how this how this works. That's why I wanted an explanation. So right now they get like an open period and that's during their Royal Hour.
Right.
So if they take 9 credits and they have to be in Royal Hour, now is that something they can work on in Royal Hour or
Mhm.
what? Okay,
Yes.
so that's just like a
And
study
basically,
hall
they just be,
kinda.
yes, they would be here with
okay.
us. It
Okay.
really doesn't. It basically makes our kids not have to attend Royal Hour. That they would now have to attend Royal Hour.
Right, and they can't sleep in.
Yes. Well, they can still sleep in. They can still arrange their college schedule to have their classes right away in the morning. Because they might have 12 college credits and they stack them all on their A day.
Okay, now that's getting deep.
I know.
Right. You could take all your classes on one day and the next day you're out.
Okay, okay.
And there's a billion different ways that they do it, especially now with some of the asynchronous
Okay.
options that are out there. There's really the sky is the limit and they can be as creative as they want. I most of the time would have considered that you would want to maybe go like a 2-and-2 or a 3-and-1 schedule for college kids, which is what they would recommend, but
But they don't have to.
they don't have to.
They can do what they want.
Yep. And so once they're at 12, if they've had all they have is their college classes.
So on these college classes that they can take. I mean, are they limited to what classes they can take, or is that opened up that they can take anything now?
They
Okay,
can take
Unless there's
anything.
a prereq.
Yes, unless,
Some colleges
Right.
can't take 2 until you get 1 or whatever.
right.
Guess you're rock and roll.
But they would have to, they just have to make sure in their, with their courses. They have to make sure if you're taking like a civics, you're not gonna take our civics course. As a senior, you have to make sure that your civics courses match what we need for the state high school standards.
We help them with that, right?
Yes. And we actually have a pre-approved list of courses at each of the colleges that they can take, but. Those course offerings are always changing too, so I probably have 10 to 20 times a year students bringing me a syllabus from a college course saying, will this have worked for our civics class? And then I go through and look at it and, I mean, there's the width or the breadth of what they can take in college. Sometimes it's like, this isn't gonna fit. You know, it matches about half of what you're doing. An ethics course is not a civics course, you know what I mean? But it sounds kind of like it and has some of the words and some of the buzzwords with it. So we have to make those determinations. That's about the only limitation that they have in terms of the things that they want to take.
okay, and I just have one more question. Do you feel like? I mean, I understand where we're coming from budgetary, I get that. But I also like the opportunity for kids to take the PSEO classes. Do you feel like this will deter students from taking it, or you think the kids who are really gonna wanna take, I mean, it may deter some kids or not, because they just don't really care if they have a.
We're looking at the registration for next fall. It was because we're done with juniors and seniors already. It's very much the same as what it was this spring.
Okay, okay,
It didn't, that this is not meant to deter. It's more meant
Right.
to just tie up some loose ends that we had on our end that,
well, and really not wasting time,
Right.
I mean, in general, you
Right.
know, I mean, I get
Everybody's
that.
time.
Everybody's time, and that's what I'm saying, I mean, I
Yes.
get that side of it. I don't wanna deter, like you said, the opportunity for some of these kids who may not have that.
no, our registration patterns
Okay.
look very much the same for next fall.
Okay.
Almost exactly the same, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, cause I see some of the classes and I'm like.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
And we have again had reported that some kids will choose the PSEO class over the college and the schools class that we teach here on site because it's easier. And so that's being communicated to the legislature from.
And to the colleges.
Schools and to the colleges.
and the college courses we offer here in school, those all transfer just like a PSEO.
it's just like,
class.
it's
Yeah,
just
okay.
like
It's just
that.
our
Okay.
teacher,
It's just listed as
Okay.
CIS as
our
opposed
teacher
to.
in school face to face versus online.
CIS would be great, the more you can get it, but it
But they've made that
requires
harder.
your staff to have
18
18 in-field credits
That-
past their in their masters.
That's a newer thing too,
Yeah.
so that's
Well,
been harder to get
accreditation's
more
gotten tougher
CIS.
because they wanted to,
Yeah.
they want the kids to be going
Yeah.
to their school, right?
Yeah.
So one of the conversations we're having is trying to find some more ways where we could share among the schools CIS courses.
Right, so maybe Pillager has a class as college and schools, can our kids get access to that class?
Right.
And then if we have a college of science, can Pequot kids get
Mhm.
access to that? You know, how could that look in our future? We're talking through some of that, and we're looking at it like a consortium model kind of thing, and is there a way to do that? So we're
Cause I'm
trying to.
assuming like budgetary it would cost, but in a sense it would save in the long run if you had that.
Mhm.
Save, and then, you know, you could still potentially like, they're here with us, so if they ask us for help on a college and schools class, that's very different than asking us to help with a PSEO class that we
Right.
have nothing to do with, you know, so. you know. And we want them here because it really does help the culture of the building to have those older kids here on site, they're good leaders, so.
Any other questions on PSEO? I'm guessing this is not the last time we'll hear about this conversation, as I believe there will be continued movement over the course of the next few years on, this is gonna evolve over time for sure.
So I just want to present quickly around, you might as well stand up there, Joel, because you're nice. But I just want to bring this to the board's attention. So, you know, we've been talking about summer schools relatively new for us. It was first started in elementary in 2021. So those are some of the attendance that you'll see in 21, 22, 23, 24. And as you can see, once we've got, the further we get away from COVID, the decreased attendance we have. And you can see in the summer, we invited 72 students, 33 registered, but really our average attendance is 27. So I'm giving you this data because I think it's important for you to see this. The next slide will show what happens at the high school, middle school. They did not have it in 21. We started it for the first time in 2022. That's been very consistent attendance. Well, I can tell you, I was a little surprised at the consistency with the middle school. I know why the high school is gonna be good because they're getting those credits. And so they want those credits because they want to graduate on time. So you can, that makes sense to me. I was just a little bit surprised by the middle school, but that's great, you know, good attendance. So as I told you, we used ESSER money for this, these summer sessions, and that money has gone. But last year, we were able to get targeted services money. And when we got that money, you actually get it this year. So the summer school was in June of 2024. They take that data and they give you the money in 2025. So right now, if you go to the next slide, we have
$22,000 in this account that we can use for the summer school that we'll offer this June. But the total cost of summer school is $27,360. And what we're looking at is transportation. That is not covered by targeted services. It doesn't have enough revenue generated to offset that expense. And it doesn't offset lunch. So we get free breakfast and free lunch for students, but there has to be supervision. That time does not get covered. And some of the coordination time that we pay for the high school credit piece, because there's a lot more coordination around tracking credits and making sure all of that happens, that too is not fully covered. So in this case, we would have, if we were to do this summer school this June, like we have these last several years, we would have an added general fund expense of $5,360. It would be this fiscal year because we're offering the programming in June. We do know that we are projecting to have our revenues exceed expenses. So it would be covered. It's not like coming out of a fund balance. It would cover this, but I'm bringing this to the board to determine, do you want to continue doing this and pay this added cost? I do say I do not recommend not offering transportation, because I feel like if we don't offer transportation, then we might have summer school at elementary, because those are the kids using that. Middle school too, high school, no. Very few high school kids use the transportation, but the elementary and middle school students do. So I'm bringing this to all of you to see if you're good with trying it again, and maybe we even look at, we'll track our attendance, of course, but if that continues to decrease, maybe we don't do summer school at the elementary in the future. I don't know, we should just keep tracking the data, but.
Can you go back to the numbers for elementary? Yeah, I would say if that number keeps dropping, we really have to take a hard look at it, because I wish Tony was here so we could talk about summer school, because I think last time we talked about it, he said it was good, and the students seemed to like it.
Oh, yeah. But you can see
But
the COVID thing, if you could tell parents wanted their kids in school with each other, the social aspect, you could just see. And now, families get busy and.
Right.
So,
Go ahead.
when we, like, for the summer school, like, is this mainly kids who are struggling with school?
We look at their scores on,
Gotcha.
like Fastbridge and such, and so that we invite children that, because you have, in order to get targeted services dollars, like, they can't be like proficient in everything, and you can use it as long as they're not proficient in reading, math, and if there's some behaviors. So you can do the behavior just because of the socialization that you get, but that is what we look at.
And that's throughout, I mean.
Throughout
that's
elementary,
middle.
middle, and high. Well, and high school's all around credit recovery, so those kids are only recovering credits.
do you know the number that were invited those other years? Like,
I didn't
we're
get
a
that
lot more-
from him. I'd have to look, ask him. Tony wasn't in that role in 21, 22, so I don't know but I can ask him to look.
And the dollars, is that per student again, that actually attends, right? So like right now, we're giving $22,000 for the targeted services dollars.
That's
right?
how much we did generated. So we take it student attendance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how many hours are there per student? It's like $5.34 or some whatever, and it's very low. That number has not changed in years.
So my point is, if we drop summer school at the elementary, we would lose those dollars as well.
You just don't get any additional revenues, right? But, right, correct, and so we'd still have that pot there that then would come, like, say we just did middle and high
Right.
school. We would use it, maybe then we wouldn't have an extended cost because
Right, for that
it just
following year.
depends, because your transportation could be cheaper because you don't
Right.
have, I mean, it might be, it might not be, we have to look at all that.
Right.
Mhm.
The first year will look good, and then after that, you're like, oh, we don't have that extra money now.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
I wonder if we talk to staff that dealt with kids that went to summer school, if, does it save them 15 minutes a day that they're getting to,
yeah,
one or two kids, even though the numbers are low, one person can affect a classroom, and if that happens because you didn't get the extra time, then you got 29 other kids that are suffering because we didn't do that,
yeah, could very well.
Yeah,
The benefits that maybe not even.
that's just something that numbers can't show you, And we only have 4 years of data,
Right,
so
and who knows, this year might be better, maybe last year was a fluke year, I don't know. But I do want the board to determine that we wanna move forward with this expenditure, so we're all on the same page.
You wanna vote tonight or?
I
What
would,
do you wanna do?
yeah, I like that, just because then we move on and get going, because we gotta invite some students.
yeah, it's getting on that time.
Yeah, it does.
So I would like to make a motion that we keep summer school the same this year moving forward.
I'll second that.
All right, motion by Director Boyd, second by Director Hackett. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Okay, no.
Where in the hole? Didn't know.
Yeah, good lord.
By proxy, I guess.
For you is the proposed Royalton District calendar for next school year. It is very, very similar to this calendar this year. One of the major differences that you would see is instead of having the Christmas break start at the front end, we came back for 2 days in that first week in January. You would actually come back for a couple days right before Christmas instead, and that extend that because of the first being on Thursday and Friday. It made sense that way, but the calendar otherwise looks very, very similar to the calendar that we had this year. The opportunities for breaks in that February and March, getting students out of the building, getting families a chance if they want to arrange a vacation, that's happening a lot more than it did even 10 years ago. I have never signed as many vacation packets as I have in the past year as I have before. And so arranging these mini breaks, and people are taking advantage of taking advantage of those mini breaks so their kids aren't missing a full week or they're taking a shorter break in there. But the calendar looks very much the same.
We've kept the early outs.
Kept the early outs
Keep
for,
going with that READ Act, so we'll be on year 2 of the READ Act, and then that will be done, they'll have all as long as we don't have any change in staff and how this goes. They'll all be completed with that READ Act training for the elementary, and then we'll learn more as the state comes through with what we're supposed to do with the middle school, high school. For training, it will not be as intense like what we have right now.
And that early out seems to be working really well this year.
Yeah, I've had good,
Have we had much feedback from parents at all? I know for us it works fine, but I don't know.
I've not had feedback from parents.
I think because they're out there and advertised, I think it's easier for parents to, we're not spraying, hey, next week we're gonna do an early out on you and you're gonna have to. I think the fact that we had pretty good communication about it right away from the start, people were in tune to those things coming up each month.
There's a lot of community feedback that I get that not only are they dealing with the early out now, that it's easy for elementary school parents, but they're excited with what's going on in the classroom. So, it's nice to have that conversation that,
And 26 years in this business, the READ Act is easily the most significant professional development that has occurred on a building-wide level, a statewide level. There's nothing that even compares to what is required from the READ Act, and I think it's a good thing. And so that time spent on those days to keep staff up to date on it and give them a chance to collaborate and incorporate this into their classroom the way it's meant to be done is an advantage for us.
All right, any questions on the calendar? Somebody want to make a motion to approve the calendar?
A motion to approve the calendar.
Director Andrews, thank you.
I'll second.
Director Holm, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
So, Director Holm had asked to, discuss this. So I want to bring some data around the open enrollment piece for preschool and who moved to K. I know you've had this in the packet to review, so I don't know if you want to ask questions about this or how we want to proceed.
I guess my question on bringing it up is I have been contacted by some paras and teachers in the younger pre-K and K, and just with the struggles they were having with some behaviors. So I guess this helped clarify. I mean, I was wondering like how many of our preschoolers are open enrolled, how many of them are behavior? And I understand, you know, everyone deserves an education, but if it's taking away from our educators and what they're doing, that's hard, and that's the frustration I felt from the people I visited with. And then I wanted to know, like, because we offer the 3 and 4-year-old, you know, how many of those students stay with us or how many come for that time and then leave? So, I mean, this was a nice spreadsheet to get to clarify all of that, I guess.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought something up, because what's not clarified here is when we say special education, that does not all mean behavior, it just means all special ed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, good, because that data we didn't provide, and I don't know if we would publicly, because I don't want to ever, I can't identify students, but.
Right,
close
and
to
it's just
school.
like that gap
Yeah.
of who's taking a lot of the,
Yep, resource. time.
yeah.
Mhm. So it's nice to see that, you know, the large percent of students that stay with us up through going to kindergarten and then stay through the rest of our matriculation up through the grades.
The one thing that's not on the spreadsheet, that I don't know how you even do it, but like. So when we take somebody and they're the oldest in the family, if they manage to stay, then it has a multiplication effect if there's more than one kid in the family, so it's just. There's no way of tracking that data, but you just, there's always that chance.
Like, and it's hard when you classify like open enrollment to, I guess, you know, mine, and obviously these young, or, you know, ages we don't know, but we had the discussion today, like, are they coming from somewhere where they're already having behavior, you know, and then we're
It's
getting
tough
them
at
putting
3 years
all,
old, man.
Well, and that's the problem, that is the challenge, is when they come to us in preschool, that we have no data, because there is no data yet, and we learn that data, and then we put in interventions in place to work with the child. And here's what we've seen too. Sometimes you have children that will come in and get special education services at 3, 4, 5, 6, and by the time they're 7, they're no longer getting those, because we got them early. And so the key is definitely identification early. That's why we always say screen by 3, because the sooner we know, the better we can get some interventions in place. So it does make for sometimes some chaotic times during that age year, because you're still learning. You don't know what we have yet. Whereas when they're with us, then they get to 1st grade, well, we already have this IEP. We know exactly what they need. So it's why it is not easy to be a preschool or kindergarten teacher. And paraprofessional, it is not easy work.
So when you look at 21, 22, there's 65 total preschoolers and 75 and 92. What are we adding teachers, or did we add a teacher?
Yeah, we did.
Preschool? Okay.
That's okay.
And then add a pair along with that
Yeah.
teacher, or whatever, 'cause I know not just the behavioral things, but if you go from maybe 20 preschoolers to 30 preschoolers, it make a big difference too, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
make sure.
Effectively doubling.
Yeah. So to make sure we're covering
Yeah, and
the teachers as it grows too.
Yeah.
And really, you know, like we've had this discussion before too, you know, that all kids are getting the attention they need at those young ages. You know, not just the kids that are needing the extra help,
Right.
you know, because some kids might need social skills, you know, they're not really. Yeah, that was just my concern.
Any other questions? Great,
This probably isn't a bad spreadsheet to see once a year.
I agree.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, we can manage
It's
that.
just, it's good information, you know,
Sure.
probably not a bad one to share.
So it says grand total of preschoolers 92. What's our graduating class?
60.
Is that
78.
preschool three and four as well?
Oh, that's three. So, okay, so if we do just 4 years, we're at 65.
So
So
we
we
can,
add from preschool.
if we can move, well, here's what happens, true. We do get kindergartners that come to us that have not gone through our preschool.
Right.
Yeah, for sure we do.
What is it?
78.
78.
What was the big class that graduated a couple of years ago?
This group of seniors was the biggest class that went through. At one time, they were 93 or 92, but we've had some movement and.
All right. Next is, donations. Right? Okay. All right, does somebody want to introduce the, resolution for the acceptance of gifts to the Royalton School District?
So moved.
Director Hackett, thank you. All right, so we have, Clinton Copicus has generously donated $4,000 to the Royalton School District to be used towards the band program. The St. Cloud Optimist Club has generously donated $1,000 to the Royalton School District to be used for the robotics program. Royalton Lions Club has generously donated $2,000 to the Royalton School District for the Spain trip. Initiative Foundation has generously donated $1,000 to the Royalton School District for the care closet. Bolus Firemen's Relief Fund has generously donated $1,000 to the Royalton School District to be used for the Deep Portage field trip. Burnix has generously donated 12 cases of Gatorade and 15 cases of water to the Royalton School District to be used for the track team. Royalton Youth Travel Baseball has generously donated $18,745 to the Royalton School District to be used to purchase scoreboards for the JV baseball and JV softball fields. And the Royalton American Legion has generously donated $500 to the Royalton School District to be used for evacuation backpacks. Therefore, be it resolved by the Royalton School Board to gratefully accept the gifts. Does somebody want a second?
I'll second.
Director Holm, thank you. All right, and clerk, can we do the roll?
Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Hackett,
Aye.
Director Holm,
I,
Director Andrews, aye, Chair Hofstad.
Aye. All right. And no one voted against. All right. Yeah, that's huge, thank you.
You know, we just made all the pizzas for the youth travel baseball a couple weekends ago. I'm like, what do they do with all this money? That's a lot of money. And then literally I got the email on here and I go, $15,000. Some of that pizza money, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
You know how popular those pizzas are?
We made 5,500 pizzas this year.
Oh my
It was down a little bit. Last year we did 6,000,
Oh, my goodness.
but and it's about 50% profit per pizza. So we
Wow.
put money in it.
Are they still selling?
So they pre-sell them, and we're not, unless you have, there's people that buy, we have customers that buy 75 of these.
Oh, yeah, I want to.
Really?
I didn't know it sold.
I didn't know either. I was.
All right, next year I want to be on the list to at least hear about it. I've got to try one of these.
They're really good.
They are really good.
They're $7 or $8 and buy a jack.
I buy pizza all the time and it's more than
No one sold, I didn't, no one sold any, no one came to me, so I really, yeah.
So nobody can
Really?
eat either.
So there's people that cut off customers because my whole back end of my truck was full of pizzas. I had to deliver them that day, right? Because who has enough freezer space for that?
Yeah, right.
So, and then some kids drop out of travel baseball, it's like, oh, we need to give you our customers. We've got other players, customers that don't play anymore. It's like, where
It's
does
a
that?
well-oiled machine
It
that
is,
day when I
it
get
is. If anybody wants to go and help out and see how it works, it is a really well-oiled machine. Like you said.
It starts at 7 AM and I'm gonna guess it was, they probably get done about
What's that?
8 PM.
Stab was saying to get people,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
I say they can make their own pizzas they sell.
right.
Yeah, right.
We've always gone, it's fun. You all hang out and whatever, it's always fun. It's 3 hours or as long as you wanna stay. But it's a fun day.
Nice. Awesome.
All right. So policy reading, we have first policy reading for 413, 516, 621, 704, and 721. So those are in our packets here. And then the second policy reading, that we'll be looking at again for 522 and 423. And, 522. And then, we are going to do a second and final policy approval for 423, the employee-student relationships. Somebody want to make a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Director Holm, thank you. I'll second. Any discussion on that one? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. And the third policy reading, so 207 is public hearings. Somebody want to move that one?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Director Andrews, thank you.
Second it.
Director Boyd, thank you. Any discussion on that one? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Upcoming meeting schedule. So April 14th is the next board meeting. In about 2 weeks. Which is good, because everybody got a break from here, I'm pretty sure. For this month, so that was good. Plenty of vacations taken. And then, are we still good with finance and policy on the 23rd? Yep. Okay. And then April 30th is a strategic planning, so anybody that can come to that, please do, because that was a great session this last time. It was great.
It's really nice when we get people, I mean, the more that come, it just makes the conversation robust. We get great ideas, you know,
Great idea.
yeah, because we, you know, as school people, we do our very best, but it's easy to get tunnel vision. And you're so into it that you can't see the forest for the trees. So to have outside people come in and say, have you ever thought of this? No, thanks for, you know, these are great ideas. So please spread the word for us. I appreciate that.
All right, anything else for the upcoming meeting schedule? All right. So we will close the meeting then for superintendent mid-year evaluation. So does somebody want to make the motion to close the regular meeting at 7:23 p.m.?
So
Director Hackett, thank you.
I'll second.
Director Holm, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Close this one.